সবাই উচ্চ স্বরে কীর্তন করুন।
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances to you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 17th chapter, and today's verse is 19, and where Bull is asking questions to Maharaj Parikshit. So we are in an interesting topic here. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. You can please take over, Maharaj. Thank you so much for your association.
Hare Krishna, thank you. My obeisances to all the devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kechit Vikalpa Vasana. Ahor Atmanam Atmanaha. Daivamanye Pare Karma. Swabhavam Apare Prabhum. So the continuation now, the personality of religion in the form of a bull is giving different reasons why people they're giving different reasons, citing different philosophers on what is actually the cause of suffering. And he continues, some of the philosophers who deny all sorts of duality declare that one's own self is responsible for his personal happiness and distress. Others say that superhuman powers are responsible, while yet others say that activity is responsible. And the gross materialists maintain that nature is the ultimate cause. So here are 4 different reasons why there is the dualities of happiness and distress. Purport. As referred to above, philosophers like Gemini and his followers establish that fruit of activity is the root cause of all distress and happiness. That even if there is a superior authority, some superhuman powerful god or gods, he or they are also under the influence of fruit of activity because they reward results according to one's action. They say that action is not independent because action is performed by some performer. Therefore, the performer himself is the cause of his own happiness and distress. In the Bhagavad Gita, 6.5 also is confirmed that by one's mind, freed from material affection, one can deliver himself from the sufferings of material pangs. So one should not entangle oneself in matter by the mind's material affections. Thus, one's mind is one's friend or enemy in one's material happiness and distress. Atheistic materialist Sankhya-ites conclude that material nature is the cause of all causes. According to them, combinations of material elements are the cause of material happiness and distress. And disintegration of matter is the cause of freedom from all material pangs. Gautama and Kanada find that atomic combination is the cause of everything, and impersonalists like Astavarka discovered that the spiritual effulgence of Brahman is the cause of all causes. But in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord himself declares that he is the source of the impersonal Brahman, and therefore he, the personality of the Godhead, is the ultimate cause of all causes. It is also confirmed in the Brahma Samhita that Lord Krishna is the ultimate cause of all causes. Om Gyanti Mirandasya Gyana Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swampadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Name Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvase Sasunyavadi Pasyatya De Satarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhisja Kripa Sindhu Prevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, as we mentioned, continuation on the different theories given by different acharyas, personalities, atheists, spiritualists, theists, voidists, on what is actually the cause of one's happiness and distress in this world. We generally think that I do this, and because I do this, I get a particular result. And another person will say, well, that may be true. What another person will say is, well, what was the source that allowed you to do that? Or what was the cause that inspired you to act in such a way? That's the cause, not so much the activity, but the desire behind the activity. So we have a difference of opinion. We give an example of two people trying to become rich. Both are working feverishly to make their plans to become rich. One, with hardly any effort, seems to get all kinds of success and becomes very wealthy quickly. Whereas another one who goes on for year after year can't change much of his situation. Both are working practically in the same way, but both are getting different results. Or some is getting results and some are getting no results. So then people will say, well, it's the actual material nature that's giving the results. So material nature is actually the cause of happiness and distress. Others say it's action. Others say behind it, there is the impersonal Brahman, which is mentioned as the foundation for all activities in the Bhagavatam. And then beyond that, we have Krishna, who is the source of the Brahminical effulgence. So here you have a combination of various. When Krishna approached Nanda Maharaj when they were about to perform the Yajna Indrajag, and Krishna wanted to discourage his father from doing that, saying, well, rain will come anyway. The rain will fall on the rocks. The rain will fall on the land. The rain will fall in the ocean. So why do we have to worship some kind of deity? Rain will come anyway. And there's no discrimination between how the rain falls or where it falls, at least how it falls. covers a blanket area. And so, and Krishna says, you just do your work. And even if there is a God, he's God, and he's saying, even if there is a God, then he has nothing to do, because it's your work that's going to make up the difference. If you work this way, you'll get a particular result. If you work this way, you'll get another result. Well, we can see by the example we just gave that two people working in the same way gets two different results, or one gets a result, another gets hardly any result. So it's not necessarily one's effort and action that brings about the result. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions there's 5 factors of action. There's the living entity, the jiva. There is the endeavor. There is the ingredients in the endeavor. There is the time factor, when it's happening. And ultimately, there is the supersoul. Now, that is a standard understanding of that all activities have 5 different features connected with it. And the results is that supersoul is giving the final statement. So supersoul can be blamed for the cause of one's suffering and happiness. But Krishna says clearly in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I am not the cause of anyone's happiness and distress. And he also says material nature is. But then he says that material nature works under a higher cause. So when you philosophically try to understand what is the source or what is the cause or the ultimate reason why a particular result comes to a particular activity, you find different opinions and also different results with the same activity. And sometimes even with no activity, a result will come simply by wanting to happen. Then all of a sudden the energies move in a certain way, and simply by a desire without any performance, something happens. We see that in Krishna consciousness. We desire something. We don't do anything but pray for it, and we simply have that desire, and there is some result coming from that apparently inactivity, action without action. Mm-hmm. So as we go through this different philosophical statements by different acharyas, different spiritualists, materialists, we come with different reasons. Mm-hmm. The basic principle is that when you do something, you get a particular result. And that's the cause. Just change the way you do things, and you'll get a different results. That's true up to a certain point, but it's not absolute, because even when people change, sometimes they get the same result or a completely different result that is undesirable. So action, reaction, remote cause, initial cause, or apparent cause, remote cause, all of these into a mix, trying to understand what is the actual foundation by which action is inspired and how results manifest. That's a very discussion type of, one can discuss it in different ways and see. And some will align oneself with one type of philosopher, and another one. Sometimes one's own mind, it says here, thus one's own mind is a friend or enemy in material happiness and distress. So sometimes simply by your mind, although you don't perform an activity, you get a result just because you desire in a certain way. And if you don't change the quality of your mind, then the results are always inauspicious or unwanted. Like that. Just like, well, what is the cause of war? People will blame, well, that nation was the cause of war. Another will say, well, it's not that nation, it's another nation. And another person will say it's this person, so they'll come up with so many different reasons. What is the cause of war? But you might say the cause of war is lust, anger, and greed. No person so much is to blame in that situation, because it's these features that are negative which pervade the atmosphere. Lust, anger, and greed is all pervading, especially in Kali Yuga, causes people to fight against each other for no reason or for some concocted reason. And they may also give some political reason, economic reason, this reason and that reason. So this particular discussion here is very interesting, and you'll see it'll come up, the conclusion comes up in a few verses. And Maharaj Pariksit confirms the conclusion by listening to the personality of Godhead. But here, all of these reasons why distress and happiness all have an element of truth in it, but all have an element of what we say untruth, or what we say variable truth. There's untruth and variable truth. Situation truth. Situation truth is not really truth. It's more situation dictates, and then something happens based on the situation. The players simply become puppets within the situation. Although they may also have desires, their desires are subliminated to the situation that is happening. Just like a person may desire one thing and may act in a different way. Just like I want good health, but I have a habit of smoking cigarettes, and I know cigarette smoking is bad for my health, but still I want good health, and still I want to smoke cigarettes. So apparently there's a contradiction. So there's people who smoke cigarettes and get sick and die of cancer, and there's people who smoke their whole life and live a long life. So some people will say, well, that person's lucky, or that person is, yeah, they're good, they have some good fortune. So, but that doesn't really answer the question. Just like sometimes people say, well, that happened by chance. Prabhupada was discussing that nothing happens by chance. There's a cause behind everything. It's a nice discussion, with Prabhupada. So one devotee says, well, I was in the shower this morning and the shower piece broke off and hit me on the head. So that was chance. Prabhupada said, no, because you're a rascal, that's why. So you might think, a person might think in terms of blaming or seeing the external movement of the material energy and start to give a conclusion based on that. But if you study this discussion here, you'll find that you can't really understand what is actually the cause of suffering and what is actually a cause of what is the actual motivation that brings about suffering. For instance, we give an example how suffering is relative to a person's desires. This was a personal experience I had, and this was many years ago. This was in the year 2006. I was visiting in America, in one place called Denver, Colorado. Denver, Colorado is surrounded by mountains, and there's mountains all around it. And so it was around the end of the year, it was between Christmas and New Year's. And I was going to travel. But then one night, a tremendous storm happened, and it snowed for hours and hours and hours. And the snow was so piled up that all the schools were closed the next day, the shops were closed. More than 2,000 flights in and out of Denver were canceled. I couldn't move. I was planning to move, but I wasn't able to move. So there was all of this snow kind of put the whole city at standstill. And people were complaining, they can't go where they want to go, they can't do what they want to do. Business were losing so much money, millions of dollars were lost because of it. But then there was a whole another group of people who were skiers who felt so happy that, wow, this snow is great. The ski slopes are now packed with really fresh snow. And all of these skiers were just celebrating the fact that now we can really get into skiing in a really, really big way. So there was one class of people saying it's all bad. Another class is saying it's good, the same thing. And so one man's food is another man's poison. One man will look at a girl and think, oh, what's such a beautiful girl. Boy, it would be nice to have a relationship with that girl. And just like there was this one lady, her name was Typhoid Mary. I don't know if you heard of her. She's a historical personality. She used to, she had typhoid throughout her whole body. She had typhoid throughout her whole body. And if she would kiss someone, they would die of typhoid. But she was fine, although she had more typhoid than anyone. In fact, Prabhupada says, even in war times, they give a little bit of poison to children when they're very young, and they inject this poison little by little, that the poison builds up in the body, and they actually develop an immunity from the poison. And they use these girls when they grow up to have relationships with the soldiers on the other side, and they kill them simply by romance. So you see, a person is full of disease, but not being affected by it. Another one, it comes in contact and immediately loses their life and dies. So what is the cause? What was the cause for that person? You can't really say. You can guess, you can come up with your conclusions. But there's so many factors, so many elements, so many situations, so many ways of seeing the same situation. One person will say this is good, another person will say this is bad. So what is it? Is it bad or is it good? Then you might say, well, there must be a standard definition for understanding. Then you apply the standard definition, and then there's a higher principle that says that ultimately everything is bad, no matter how you look at it, whether good or bad. Such as Prabhupada would say, pious or impious activity, it's all impious because it keeps one in the material world. Even pious activities are another deviation away from pure devotional service. People think, well, I'm a good person. I give money in charity. I don't hurt anybody. I look for opportunities to help people in different ways. I belong to so many organizations. and I give so much money to support these organizations. So I'm a good person. But still, you're in the material world, and you're thinking that you have achieved some success in life based on some of the qualities of the higher mode of goodness. But still, it causes you to get another birth in the material world, and you never know. It says that the three modes, passion, goodness, and ignorance, are mutable. They're always changeable. So there's one verse, it's explained in the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter. Sometimes the mode of goodness is attacked by the mode of ignorance. Sometimes the mode of passion is attacked by the mode of ignorance. Sometimes the mode of ignorance comes into the mode of passion. So the modes are always mixed up, and the different characteristics and qualities of the modes and the people involved in the mixture get different results at different times. And sometimes the same person gets different results doing the same activity. For instance, sometimes there's a particular foodstuff you like, and you enjoy eating it, and you eat it regularly, but after one time, you break out in some kind of rash. It's called histamine. What is it? Histamine, that the body starts to build up a reaction, builds a reaction to the same foodstuff coming all the time. And rather than being something enjoyable, you get some kind of negative reaction. So life is like that. So what's the cause? Is it the body? Is it the mind? Is it higher powers? Is it God? Is it your activities? Is it material nature? Is it a combination of any of these? So this is what's being discussed here. The bull was beaten and three of his legs were broken. He's standing on one leg and he's speaking this philosophy to Maharaj Parikshit, who's inquiring who or what is the cause of your suffering. I can see you are suffering, and I am here to protect the innocent, so please tell me. And the bull is not giving a direct answer. He's giving all of these different reasons given by different philosophers and different spiritualists. So this is an interesting discussion as it continues to go on. And you'll stay with this particular series of verses, and you'll be amazed to see what is the answer to all of this, and how it's understood for us on an individual level. We will never be able to understand it on what we might say, not individual, but on a community level or on a national level. That's very hard to understand. Just like it says that the United States has gone into a certain astrological there's some astrological arrangement that comes up every so often. It's called Sadasati. For 7.5 years, in those 7.5 years, you get the results. The nation will get a collective results of their good karma or bad karma. So if people are generally pious, there's a lot of what we say good karma results, and if the people are impious, it's the other one. So you might say, well, astrological influence is the cause. Another reason or another apparent theory for the cause. Well, what causes the astrological influence? Why does it happen at a certain time? Why does it happen to a certain nation? And how the people in the individual nation are experiencing the reactions of their activities. So I'm just giving a little bit of the same message that the bull is giving in a more detailed way. So, and the most important part is that it's very difficult to understand the cause of suffering. But there is a cause. And that'll be revealed as we continue on with these verses. Okay, so I'll stop there. and we can maybe take some discussion.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. Such a wonderful class. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, if you have any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead. And please turn on your cameras if possible. Thank you so much. Yeah, Ilyana Mataji, you have your hand, sir.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I have a sharing, no? In Italy, a lot of time ago, I met children, and these children have lost her mother 1 year before. And in that moment arrived Radhana Swami Maharaj, and these children give me an answer, give me a question. Ilenia, why Radharani bring my mother? Why? And she's very hungry, no? She's very hungry. And I don't have a word to answer her. And I take her and put her near Radhana Swami Maharaj, and I stimulate her, give this question to Maharaj, no? But she don't reply, and just look, Maharaj. And this sometimes I'm feeling like these children, no? And and Guru is very necessary in to connection with a Krishna plan, no? Because Krishna have a plan always, but alone I'm feeling hungry like a children, and I don't understand. And the Guru give mercy to understand the Krishna plan.
Yeah, nice. What you do with that mercy will depend on how you understand it, how you accept it, and how you apply it. But the mercy is there. Concern, the Guru has some concern to help. And he may give philosophical response, or he may help you understand through your own intelligence, or he may just make you feel less miserable based on the experience that you're going through.
Yeah.
He'll also give you, he maybe give you, just like sometimes people will come to Srila Prabhupada and say, well, this is my daughter. She's a teenage girl and she has cancer. She's not going to live very long. And so Prabhupada would say, well, we all have to die. Whether we die now or we die later, what's the difference? Death will come sooner or later. Some people think, well, a long life is success. But then again, we have examples of great personalities who lived short lives and did so much for the world and for themselves. Jesus Christ lived 33 years. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived 48 years. Saint Teresa from France, from a place called La Sue in France, she lived 23 years, great saint. Saint Teresa of Avila in Portugal, she lived very, Saint John, so many saints, sadhus. Wasn't so much how long they lived, it's what they did with their life while they were living. So Prabhupada wanted to make a point, whatever time you have left, become Krishna conscious. You can't stop the hands of death, death will happen. Sometimes you think you can postpone it, but no one can postpone death. When death wants to come, it'll come. Prabhupada talks about the man, he was thinking, well, Yamaraj, he's the Lord of Death, and he's a gentleman. And so I'm going to smear my body with stool all over, and he won't come and touch me because he's such a gentleman. But that was another stupid idea. So Prabhupada mentions that people want to avoid death in so many different ways. But it's not about avoiding death, it's about using the time you have left for, achieving the goal of life, self-realization, God consciousness. That's what's important. Maharaj Parikshit was an example. He only had 7 days, but he used those 7 days to become fully self-realized by hearing from a fully self-realized person about transcendental knowledge, which brought his consciousness away from the whole conception of death and fixed him. He became completely fearless of death, completely fearless of death. And then when it was time to leave his body, he simply absorbed himself in thoughts of the Supreme Lord. So yeah, we can't, somehow or other do something on the material level to somehow offset another type of material suffering. All we can do is help people go through it by understanding there's another way to accept it as the mercy of the Lord, and take shelter of the Lord. And by that shelter, you find you're somewhat insulated and isolated from that suffering, which is caused really by your own mind. Another cause of suffering is the mind. The body is also the cause of suffering. That was also brought up in the discussion by the bull. So yeah, there's so many causes of suffering: body, mind, others, higher power, so many things. This is the material world. On the spiritual level, there's no suffering. Come to the spiritual platform, and then you can rise above all of the different types of sufferings. There's a class of people called masochists. And what a masochist is, they like to inflict pain on themselves because they feel pain is actually pleasure. No, sadist is one who likes to inflict pain on others. A masochist is one who likes to accept pain themselves because they enjoy pain. They actually like the idea of pain. So the idea of pain and pleasure is simply based on the body. It has no independent existence simply by one's consciousness. For some people, pain is pleasure, and for others, pleasure is pain. So where are we? Become Krishna conscious. That's the answer. And you can of all of these dualities. That's the process is to help you transcend all of these, not only distress, but so-called material happiness also, because material happiness leads to material distress. The more one tries for material happiness, the more one is planting seeds for material distress. It's automatic. Just the way it works, because you can't have one without the other, because the material world is full of duality, and duality is always the nature of all activities. So don't worry about
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Become Krishna conscious.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
There's this one Christian preacher. He has no arms and no legs. Maybe some of you have seen him. No arms and no legs. But he swims. He can actually swim. And he also gives lectures all the time. encouraging people to rise above their material suffering and just worship God. He's so deep in God worship that although he's debilitated, no legs, no arms, he's doing so much to help other people. His God consciousness is so deep. You can look it up. I don't know his particular name. Maybe Sri Devi, I think she knows a little bit about him also. But yeah, there's personalities like that who accept distress as an opportunity for growth towards spirituality. And that's what distress is all about. It's meant to inspire you to look outside of the way you live in order to find that happiness you're looking for. And that's Krishna consciousness, or above the three modes of material nature. We have Scarlett says there's also a woman in the same situation. There are many people who have somehow transcended all of their bodily deficiencies and are doing wonderful work, not only for themselves, but for people in general to help in different ways. So yeah, what is happiness? What is distress? Can you actually put your finger on it? We were talking yesterday how people win the lottery and get millions of dollars. All of a sudden, they have so much wealth, and after some time, their life goes to hell. Everything goes down. Their friends try to get their money. They use their money in the wrong way and hurt themselves. So many examples of so-called good turns into something different, and so-called distress turns into something different. And this is what's happening in this particular situation with the bull.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Sridevi Mataji, you can go ahead, please.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, we understand because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, your mercy on us, how urgent it is to become Krishna conscious. But in general, when I look at all the different relatives I have, they think, oh, these people, they are so irresponsible. They don't work hard for money. They just go on doing something, wasting their time. What's going to happen to them, we don't know. While we are so hardworking, we are so responsible. We work hard, we make money, we sock away for old age, retirement, medical problems, while these people, they just fritter away their time like this. They have a very poor impression of us Hare Krishnas because we engage in devotional service and we are not after money. And they say you're impractical, irresponsible, etc., etc. So when we see these people who have taken a different path, are they sowing seeds for future material misery because they seem to have it all together?
Yeah, material life is like that. And they give credence to material success as success. We say material success is another form of defeat. And besides, to take your answer in a different way, our Father is the richest person in existence. That's Krishna. So we don't have to worry about money. Krishna will supply. Yeah. Give you an example. Yeah, this is for all of you who are out there who are working hard for money. So just listen to this one. So Srivas Thakur and Lord Chaitanya said to Srivas, hey Srivas, you got a big family, but you don't do anything to earn any livelihood. How do you live? How do you eat? And Srivas clapped his hands 3 times loudly. Lord Chaitanya responded by saying, "What does that mean?" And then he clapped his hand once and he said, "My dear Lord, if Krishna doesn't feed me and my family one day," and he clapped his hand twice, "he doesn't feed me in 2 days and my family." He clapped his hand 3rd time and he said, if he neglects us again, then I drown myself in the Ganges. When Lord Chaitanya heard that, he roared so loud that he shook the universe. He said, Srivas, even if Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, were to go door to door with a begging bowl, begging, still there will always be everything you need in your home. What was he saying? Because you have full faith by engaging in devotional service, Krishna will take care of everything you need and more. So I tell that to people in general who are workers, people who, are striving hard for material gain. And I tell them, if you have that faith, it works. If you don't have that faith, it doesn't work. If you have that faith that if I simply engage in devotional service, Krishna will take care of me. If you have that faith, it works. Krishna will do that. He'll take care of you because he takes care of those who surrender to him. He not only takes care, but he takes care completely, way beyond the person's even expectations. But without that faith, you can't really engage in devotional service in that same way. So that faith is necessary. Srivas had that faith, and the Lord said, yeah, even Lakshmi, if she somehow or other becomes poverty-stricken, still, and she has to go from door to door to get alms, don't worry, you're in a better position than Lakshmi. So try to think about that one, because it's not some euphemistic statement that just sounds good. It's actually a reality. Krishna says, as they surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So you might say, well, I'm a householder. I got family, have some responsibility. I got so many other bills to pay. Well, the point is, how much time are you using for Krishna? And how much time are you wasting, somehow trying to maintain the body, the mind, and the relatives, friends, and dependents? The question is, how much time? That comes back to it. Am I spending all my time just maintaining my physical life and find very little time for Krishna and Krishna consciousness? Or is it the opposite? And am I increasing in my Krishna consciousness as time goes on, or am I increasing in my material life as time goes on? That's also a question. Because when you increase your Krishna consciousness, it increases. When you increase your material life, it increases. Depends where you put your attention on. So then again, what's the formula? Ishavasham idam sarvam. Live according to your needs. Simplify your life so you have enough time for practicing spiritual life. Quality time, not just time, but quality time. Quality association, quality time for chanting, quality time for reading and discussing the books, quality time for doing practical services, quality time. And if you somehow slip in your material side, don't worry, Krishna's there. And there's a little bit of material effort. Bhakti Vinod Thakur talks about that. A little effort for the grihastas in their efforts to live in this world. And then he doesn't give the formula in terms of how much. He says bare minimum, because life is meant for self-realization, not for accumulating a lot of material things and living high on the hog, and then all of a sudden, your spiritual life is somewhat gone, or somewhat, you just squeeze it in because you got a little bit of time somewhere. But that's not how you live. That's not devotional service. Devotional service is the constitutional position of all living entities. It is our nature. So organizing our life around these principles, where we live according to religious principles, take care of our material responsibilities, but not when we don't get so absorbed in it and thinking the success of our material life is the success of my life. Happiness and distress will come. Money will come, money will go. Friends will come, friends will go. Family members will come, that family members will go. But Krishna only comes more and more to the devotee. He doesn't go.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you so much. Yeah, as you said, mercy is there, and how we are going to take it also matters.
We have to learn that art, the art of how to live in this material world and not become entangled in material life. It's an art.
Thank you. Such an important instruction. Thank you so much. Ilyana Mataji, you raised your hand again.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Que cosa?
Please accept my obeisance. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. I have a question. In transcendental and loving devotional service, how to develop our skills? Because just yesterday we were talking to Maharaj Bhakti Vasudeva Swami that everybody has to be able to live independently. Obviously, not independently from Krishna, but from another human being. For example, I'm a woman and maybe, sorry.
Everybody has to be in the what?
Independently.
Independent.
I don't understand that word.
Independent.
But not from Krishna, but from of another human being. For example, I am a woman and maybe one day I will take protection in a husband, but that doesn't mean that I don't have to develop skill, because maybe this relationship may not go well, and so
become dependent on Krishna. That's all. That's how to become dependent on Krishna. And then you're independent, because Krishna is independent. And if you become dependent on Krishna, you also become independent, but at the same time, everything is taken care of by Krishna, because he is above all of the material dependencies. And that's the art of surrender to Krishna. So practically speaking, we work under the guidance of our spiritual authorities, who are representatives of the spiritual master and representatives of Krishna, for our day-to-day service within the temple. That's all. Just do your service. And then your independence is coming by way of your connection with Krishna, not by the idea that, well, I don't have to, this person, I don't want to be dependent on this person, that person. Just become dependent on Krishna. Krishna will take care of it. We don't believe that, though, because we don't have enough faith in Krishna.
Yes. Yes. So Maharaj, you think that we don't have to think, what will be our svadharma?
No, you just do your service. And make friends with the devotees, read the books, chant the holy name, go to the morning program. You're both going to the morning programs?
Dai, sui Friend ci siamo. Friend
Yes,
Morning
yes.
Program.
See?
Yes. We go to the morning program. Yes.
Yeah, so the morning program is powerful. Mangalarti,
Mm.
Tosarti, Japa, Guru Puja, your class. After you come out of 3.5 hours of intense sadhana, hey, it's like a refreshing bath. You're energized, spiritual. Then you some nice Krishna prasadam, and then the day you start doing your different services. It's wonderful. I lived in the temple for many years. It was the best years of my life in the temple.
Yes.
Lucky.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? Krishna.
I can't help but remember my god sister Savyadatri, and maybe she'll be very embarrassed, but Guru Maharaj, you told her to just depend on Krishna. You said, don't worry about your job, just give up your job, engage in devotional service. Krishna will take care of you, Krishna will take care of Thomas. And exactly as you said, everything happened just like that. And Thomas is fine, she's fine, and here she's in Mayapur. And it's just amazing. She just had complete faith in your words and she obeyed your instructions. Such a shining example for all of us.
Yes, she listens. She has faith. And she also gives faith to others in the same way.
Thank you, Mataji. Jagdish Prabhu, you have a question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, all glories to Prabhupada. I just want to ask you, when you are at home at the temple, when we actually give prasad to Lord Krishna, is there a minimum time you should leave it there for?
Is there a minimal time you should?
Leave, when you give prasad to God, when you give food to God, is there a minimum time that you have to leave it there?
Well, there are standards. There's temple standards. There's home standards. If you ask me, I have a deity and I also do home worship. So for breakfast, 10 minutes. For lunch, 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
You can follow that standard, that would be acceptable. 10 minutes after you make the offering, 15 minutes after you make the offering.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah, I think I saw a question. Yeah, Sakshi Mataji is asking a question on chat. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. What if a person is not having that much faith in Krishna, but still listen to the instruction of the spiritual master? What would be the result?
Well, if you follow the instructions of the spiritual master and you read the books, you'll get that faith. There's no excuse saying, well, I don't have any faith. It's like saying, I came to the store to buy something, but I don't have any money. It's like, what are you going to do standing in the store? You don't go to the... So Prabhupada would never say, well, I can't do it, I don't have. Because Prabhupada would say, well, get it. Get that faith. Get those qualities. Get them. They're available. Don't complain about not having them. Get them, they're available. That's the point, they're available. They come by way of the mercy of the. When we understand we are cases of mercy, whatever abilities and intelligence and whatever facilities we have is all the mercy of the Lord. That's all it is. The whole process is mercy. But you have to act in such a way as you want to achieve that mercy. You have to show Krishna you want it. And then when he sees and you're sincere, then the mercy comes. What is our qualification? Krishna's mercy, that's all. If he were to withdraw his mercy, we would be able to, nothing can happen. Our whole life can just stop. His mercy is everywhere, especially for his devotees, especially for those who are surrendered to him. He gives his mercy. He's the supreme controller. He controls everything at all times. There's nothing outside of his control. So if he wants the material energy to work in a certain way, all he has to do is desire in that way. Simply by his desire, things work. He doesn't even have to do anything. He just simply wants something to happen, it happens. Whatever it is. He's all powerful. And all his energies are working perfectly under his control. So why, I mean, if you know a person like that, you would think, wow, I want to connect with that person. He's got everything. He's got all power. Yeah, Krishna's like that.
Yes,
Prabhupada said he could give you the whole world, but then again, what would you do with it? You wouldn't know what to do with it. So he won't give it to you because you won't know what to do with it.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Yeah. Sorry, Mataji, you have a question?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my obeisances. Just a quick question. There are so many people who say that if you want certain material things, you can manifest it. So at what level does it work? Does it level at the level of the mind? So you wish for certain material things, you imagine the good results, and then the Paramatma sanctions the wishes of the mind. Does it work like that?
Well, that's the beginning. It starts there. It starts in the heart, it comes up to the mind, and the mind desires in a certain way. But desire is not static, it turns into action. If desire doesn't turn into action, then the whole process becomes incomplete. Yeah.
And does it work for the spiritual advancement as well? If we want certain things
Well,
spiritually.
in the spiritual, it's a little different in the sense that there is the story of the South Indian Brahmin who wanted to worship the deity with opulence, but he had no money, he was very poor. And so someone had told him that he could worship the Lord in his mind, so he did. So he got a deity, he was dressing the deity, waking the deity, feeding the deity, doing everything in his mind. He was absorbed in the worship in his mind. He never did anything physical. And he got so absorbed in his mind doing that, that one day he cooked sweet rice in his mind for his deity, and he wanted to test it, see if it was cool enough. to be offered to the deity. But when he put his finger into the sweet rice to test it, this is all happening in the mind, his finger got burnt. And on the physical level, his finger was burnt, even on the physical level. When Lord Vishnu saw that, he turned to Lakshmi. He said, I'm going to call him back home to me now. So his intensity of serving the Lord, although nothing was happening on the physical level, was all done in the mind. You can't do that with material nature because you have to actually do something. But you can't do that in spiritual life either unless there's a reason for acting like that. You can't say, well, my dear Lord, I want to give you $1 million. I have $1 million, but I'll give it to you in my mind. Krishna says, well, he thinks, well, what is this guy trying to cheat me or something? So you can't do that. If you have the intelligence, if you have the ability, if you have the facility, use it. The desire starts everything in motion, but the motion comes by using whatever you have to make it happen, or try to make it happen. Like that. But the South Indian Brahmin had nothing. All he had was his desire. And because he did that, he somehow or other was able to reach perfection. So that's to show you that devotional service is not dependent on anything material.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you. Nice question.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, I never heard this one. This is like manifesting something in the mind and coming.
On the physical level, you can read the story. It's in Nectar of Devotion. It's there.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Nice, interesting question. Vrishabh Prabhu is commenting, whatever we find attractive in anyone is just a small spark of the same quality that Krishna's has fully manifested in him. I also found theoretically that it is much easier to develop relationships with Krishna than with others. Please correct me if I said something wrong.
Yeah, because with Krishna, you develop a relationship in one way, and that is through service, through devotion. Developing relationships with others means to somehow see where there is a common denominator and work on that. But because material relationships are subject to the time element, and people are different. So it's easier to develop a relationship with Krishna because Krishna says this is how you do it. And if you do it, you follow that, you develop that relationship. But Prabhupada talks about the man in the family. He's getting old now, and he's asking his wife, he wants to retire from family life. And she says, well, what have you done your whole life? You haven't done anything. This child is not set up. This one is not set up. What do you want to do? Yeah. So Prabhupada says, you can give your whole life to someone in this world, and they will never even appreciate anything you do. Yeah, it's like that. But with Krishna, even a small amount of devotional service is eternally registered in that person's life. It's never lost, even the smallest amount. Krishna always remembers that. Krishna is a grateful person. He's very grateful. Although we don't have any ability to serve him, if we still make an effort to serve him, he's grateful for that. And your sincerity will make everything wonderful. Krishna said, oh, this person's really trying to serve me nicely. let me give him my mercy. Let me give her mercy. Yeah, Krishna, it's easier to develop a relationship with Krishna. Because he said, this is the way it is. In material life, you don't know how it's gonna play itself out. Material life means thieves agreeing to divide up stolen goods. That's what material life is about. Everyone's stealing from Krishna, and they work together to steal, and then they want to divide it up. You take some of it, and I'll take some of it, and then based on that, we have a relationship. But the goods are stolen, so a thief can never be happy.
Wow.
That's material life. Yeah.
Powerful example. Thank you, Maharaj. Nobody will forget this. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, any more questions or comments?
Yeah, Prabhupada was walking on a morning walk with one big industrialist. And Prabhupada said to him, what is your occupation? He said, I am a glass maker. I make glass. And Prabhupada said, what are the ingredients for glass? And he said, silicon or sand. Sand is part of glass. And so Prabhupada said, well, you're actually stealing from God, because God is actually providing the sand for you to make the glass. And he said, well, I give a donation. And Prabhupada said, all right, you're only a small thief then. Yeah. So, yeah, we steal from Krishna and we take credit for it. We use it for our own sense gratification. We give a little donation, say, thank you, Krishna. And then, so we're just little thieves, you know. And those that don't give anything, they're the bigger thieves. Everything belongs to the Lord.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? So, Maharaj, I want to announce tomorrow's class, with your permission.
It's with the devotees in
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Yeah, Bhakti Sangha. So, but the timings are different this week as the daylight saving started in US. So the timing of the class will be 11:20 a.m. UK time. And for India, it is 4:50 p.m. IST.
4:50?
Yes, Maharaj, 10 minutes to 5. So because 1 hour spring forward, right? Due to the daylight.
Tomorrow's class is 10 minutes to 5.
Yes, Maharaj. So the verse number is Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 5th chapter, verses 33 to 35. 7th canto, 5th chapter, 33 to 35. And time is
33 to 35?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, time is
11:20.
time for me is 4:50 p.m. And for others, it's 11:20.
Yeah. Yes, Maharaj.
UK time is 11:20.
UK time. Yeah. For Eastern, it is 7:20.
Okay. So I'm not so happy we're breaking from our theme here, but
Yeah.
still we have an obligation to fulfill. But Friday, we'll be back with the same series of discussion. So please continue to tune in. You'll be amazed to see how this thing actually transpires in the discussion.
Yes, Maharaj, very interesting verses and nice discussions also. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for sharing such wonderful stories and examples. Thank you. Such a powerful instructions today's class. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll end the call here.
Wish for today.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
sindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Candramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.